from the people. Sahara come from our seas.
Welcome back to SaharaTV. My name is Rudolf Okonkwo. I hope you've been enjoying our show today. We've been giving you interesting guests and programming today, and I hope you stand by. This is our Skype call segment when we give you the chance to give us your feedback on some of the things we've been presenting to you today. We have talked to Sheikh Gumi in Kaduna about the political situation in Nigeria. Of course, you know this week has been very, very interesting week in Nigerian political life. We had Stella Oduah, the controversial Minister of Aviation, fired or resigned, whichever one you choose, but she's gone. And we also have the Chief of Staff of the President also fired. A lot of interesting things, and next week I think we are going to begin to count down on the so-called national conference. So there are a lot of things we are going to talk about today, and we have the honor of having here in the studio with me the one and only Dr. Perry Bremer. Perry, welcome to SaharaTV again.
Thank you very much, Rudolf. It's nice to be on the show.
So, before we get the Skype callers in to join us in this conversation, so let me think, what is your take on the political action that took place this week?
It was a very, very exciting week, if you could use those words to refer to the things that have been happening. Chief of Staff, I think it was this week, the Chief of Staff.
Yeah, it was this week, yeah.
Stella, which is do I call it a victory?
Well, they claim that she resigned because she wanted to pursue other political ambitions, which I don't know what they are. Maybe she will go to the Senate. Because that's the only thing she could do now. She's from Anambra State, and there's no election for governor in Anambra State in 2015. So the option is to go to the Senate or the House of Rep. Maybe we'll see her in one of those places.
Or she'll be appointed to head, like Bamanga Tukur.
Oh, yeah, or but that wouldn't be a political ambition that will make her to resign. But whatever the case, she is gone. And then we had the $20 billion, the new controversy. And now the Minister of Finance, Mrs. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, is saying that they are going to bring external auditors to come in and look at the accounts of NNPC. How many times are they going to do that?
It's you know, sometimes when you think about the way things are being, you know, the path we're taking in Nigeria, it's disheartening. You know, you want to be taking a step forward, you know, maybe 2 steps forward and a step backward. But you don't want to be taking a step to the side and then a step to the other side. External auditors, I actually do agree with that. But I think, you know, we need to bring maybe external president. You know, because sometimes the question you ask is, who is going to, you know, what's the process by which they are going to choose this external auditor?
Yes.
And then
we spoke to Gumi, Sheikh Gumi, and he said that it would be good to have the Senate and the House of Rep pick the external auditors instead of the minister or the presidency. And also he said that it would be good to have people, auditors from Russia, Germany, and China, instead of getting auditors from the West, because the money we're talking about are all in the West, and it will be a conflict of interest. So that's interesting, and I'm sure most people who had the news or who had the minister saying that they will bring external auditors don't think beyond that point. You know, the thinking ends there. Okay, some people will come from outside. Nobody asks the question, who are these people coming? Who is bringing them? Are they friends of the minister? Are they friends of the president? You know, how do we believe that they will do the right job?
The first question to ask is, how do we get to this point where you're actually saying that to resolve this, we need external forensic auditors? Like, how does a nation being run, get to a point where your accounts are complicated to the tune of $20 billion?
Our budget is about $30 billion. And we
that you need external people to come
account for
it's like,
almost half of the budget.
It's like we are in this studio and we say an elephant is missing in maybe a, I don't know, 40-foot studio. You say an elephant is missing. We need external investigators to come and look for this.
Yeah.
How do you get to that point where, you know, because some people are asking, some people are asking, they're saying, why did Sanusi come first and say 50 billion and then come and say this? And these people who are asking, they're just trying to skew and misdirect people. This thing is pretty straightforward. You know, Sanusi, as with any type of investigation, you check and you say, hey, 50 billion is not accounted for. And he first sent the report to them that 50 billion is missing. The next thing that happens is they didn't even answer that. And this is our central bank governor. And they didn't even answer that report according to the story. So the next thing that happens is, after they didn't answer, somewhere along the line, thanks to whatever angel it was, that report got to the public. Then they finally answer and say, oh, come over, let's talk about it. And we are talking about 50 billion, an allegation of 50 billion missing. So he is looking at his reports and he's saying 50 billion is missing, and he presents that. That's normal. The next thing that happens is they hold a meeting, they all talk together, and I think that meeting was tops a day or 2 days. This is not enough time for this kind of investigation, but they hold this meeting, and at the end of the meeting, they both, what comes out of that meeting is 11 billion is still missing. 11 billion is huge enough. That's what came out of that meeting. Sanusi goes home with the documents that they've given him, and he looks at these documents and says, nope, this is not right. This is, you know, I'm just assuming this is the way these kind of investigations usually take. This document, this is the same document repeated here and here. But during that day's session, we didn't notice those kind of things. So this is the same thing here, and it's repeated here too. Scratch that. He's like, guys, 20 billion is still missing. There's more. That 50 billion is what is missing. But based on his, without a more dutiful forensic, 20 is still missing.
I wish Nigerians would pay attention to, detailed attention to some of these things, because I was reading what the minister was saying. She acknowledged that the accounting process at NNPC is complex. It's too complex for a Harvard-trained minister to understand. And then there was something she said there that was amazing to me. She said that part of the oil they are lifting out of Nigeria, that NNPC will lift that oil to pay for loans they took. So without telling the country, probably, they will lift this oil to pay for loan, and down that the CBN is counting that oil as something that was sold, but it was used to pay for loan. And what was crossing my mind was, okay, so we could do that. So why can't we lift oil and refine it for Nigerian market without telling Nigerians that we have to pay this market rate, the international market rate for oil? You know, there were so many questions that are out there and people are not paying attention. Nigerians really don't care too much about the details of what is going on. This is at the core of, we're talking about something that probably must be going on for years. You know, we're talking about this because this is a democratic government. We are insisting that we must know what's going on. During the military era, who knows what was going on? Who knew? We know what is going on. So what I'm saying is that this is the point. And if we can't get the oil, if we can't get this oil account in order, there is nothing else I think that is important to us as a nation, because this is where most of the money is coming from. If we can't get this in order, something that we don't work for, when will we get in order the other things that come in little numbers?
And that's why this 20 billion is, it's for some reason the international world, nobody cares about what happens. We are we are a jungle in Nigeria now. You know, we are a complete jungle, because otherwise this is headlines for the whole globe. When you hear that, you know, $20 billion is missing from a country, among other monies which get stolen. And
this money, we have to say, is for the ones we acknowledged were lifted for sale.
That's the point.
Not the ones that were lifted and sold in secret.
And sold in secret. In fact, and you have the whole processes where, you know, the whole thing from the Berne Declaration, where they said, you know, they find this siphon of like 7 billion where you have letter boxes and you have people in the process of selling it, they are, you know, ripping us off along that line. You now look at how much are these people. So the problem with this is when you look at it, you say, what's happening in our government is like they run our country like it's their backyard. This whole thing that you're telling me about them saying, you know, we can't, you know, there's some times we use this oil to pay for loans. They are running this, our entire nation.
In fact, like, Yakubu, the NNPC group managing director, came out and said to the country, look, no money is missing. It's in your pockets. I mean, we spent it to subsidize kerosene for you. So you spent 20 billion, 10 billion without appropriation. And people in Congress, in the National Assembly, the Senate, they are there looking and they are not alarmed that
20 billion.
That almost half of the budget was being spent by some few people.
You see, you're subsidizing kerosene with 100 naira, you know, it's 50 naira. You see, you're subsidizing it to 100 naira. People are paying 150 naira for it. And you're paying that. Per liter of kerosene, 100 naira is going into your, it's depressing, honestly. And that's why I had to, at a point, I asked some people around me, I asked my brother, I said, how many luxurious buses do you think $20 billion can buy? If each luxurious bus costs $100,000, I said, how many do you think? He said, maybe 500, maybe 5,000. I said, that's the reason. We do not realize how, that's why I wrote that article about that. Like, we don't even realize what this money is. $100,000 luxurious buses. 200,000 buses. You could provide services for everybody in that country. Somebody said in Dubai, they built 316 islands out of the water for with $13 billion. We are talking of $20 billion.
No, what I always say is, I tell people, think about what people will get if you share that money. That's even better than giving it to government to do anything for you in Nigeria. If you share.
Gaddafi considered that. When Gaddafi, during his own, if he considered, we can share this money, we can put a certain amount for public access and we could share the rest so everybody decides what to do with it. That's why right now, the stage I'm on and the stage I believe every Nigerian should be on is we must not take any more, because this is chancing. We must not take any more chancing. So every Nigerian should hold on to this, no more chancing. You cannot allow some people somewhere to say, we are going to take 20 billion that they cannot. Babangida, we don't know how much Babangida stole. What can he do with it? He sits down in his house in Mina. What does this? You don't want to be reading about yourself, your legacy in the future, and people are talking bad things about you. Don't these people think about some kind of legacy?
No, they don't.
Even if they don't, for us, it's like we have to say, no more, you chanced our fathers. You understand? They chanced maybe our fathers, they tried, they didn't understand how this thing was going to be. They were like, what's happening? Are they really stealing this money? The military regimes, they had guns. That's what they used to use to chance us. So they have guns. They use guns to chance us. But for our generation, these people without guns, they believe they can decide that we are going to take this money for your villages. Take this money for... It's chancing. So apart from the fact of what they are not doing with it, this is chancing, and we will talk about it. And we have to congratulate Sahara and everything everybody did with Stella. She chanced us, and we got her out. You cannot chance us anymore. Every Nigerian has to stand up and say, we are not going to let you chance us. You don't have a right to take that money.
All right. We will continue the discussion. Let's go to Skype, because now we have our Skype callers joining us. We have from Nigeria, Katsina State, Aliyu. Aliyu, welcome to SaharaTV. Aliyu, can you hear me?
Thank you very much, Mr. Rudolf.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. We have a delay with you, so we can hear you. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right. Odebode in Canada. Odebode, welcome to SaharaTV.
Thank you very much, Rudolf.
Diallo in Kuala Lumpur. Welcome to SaharaTV. Diallo. He's gone. All right. We also have Collie Joe from Canada. Collie Joe, welcome to Sahara TV.
Oh, thank you, Rudolf. My pleasure.
Okay. So joining us in this discussion is Dr. Perry here. Say hi to Dr. Perry, all you guys.
Hey, Perry, how you doing?
Hi, everybody.
All right. So we are going to start with Stella.
Hi, Dr. Berry.
Hi, how are you?
Dr. Berry, hi.
Hi.
All right. So we're going to start with Stella and the sacking of Stella Oduah. Let me start with you, Leo, in Castina. So how did that, the story, how did people in Castina receive that news?
Actually, we were thinking that President Jonathan will not be able to do so. But we believe he is a person that favors corrupt officials. But the sacking was a shock and surprised us. Although we want him to do something much more than that, maybe by instituting investigations against us, because there are so many scandals surrounding her office. So the thing you should have done is to first hand her over to TC or ICPC to check her out to see whether if all those claims are correct, not just to fire her and give her something we don't know to go arrest and enjoy herself. Probably we may even hear another appointment, maybe ambassadorial or something like that. Or what we want now is not the sacking of her, is to see that maybe all the claims of the scandals surrounding her are well investigated, and if possible, she should be prosecuted for violating the laws of the land.
Okay, Aliu, thank you. I understand that we have a new caller. Perkins.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Perkins, welcome to Sahara TV.
Thank you very much, Rudolf.
All right, stand by, okay? I will come to you. Let me first go to Odebode. Odebode, so you're in Canada and you had this news. What was your reaction?
My reaction wasn't too, I wasn't too surprised because I know it is time for political games and you need to win more supporters, more favors, either from the opposition or from your party. So you just have to please people. But nevertheless, we still have to go. That money cannot just go missing. Oduah has some questions to answer. Various ministers or managers under Oduah who also went through the procurement processes have questions to answer. The dealer, Cost Chariots Motto, has questions to answer. So we have a lot of people that we need to need to answer questions, and we should not just be happy and because of 2015 this year, so that it can win massive support. So we have to insist on that.
Okay, Collie Joe, how do we insist on that? How do we make sure that it doesn't end here? You know, because that's where it always ends.
First of all, let's give kudos to the president for firing Oduah. That shows.
Collie Joe, he didn't say, the presidency didn't say that Oduah was fired. They said that she resigned to pursue other goals.
Oh, because all I've been seeing on various Nigerian media sites is sack.
Yeah,
so,
it's the media that interpreted it as sack. The presidency said that
okay.
they went to do better things with their lives.
Oh, she just resigned. So
Yes.
that means she can come back.
Yeah, and that was a soft landing for that.
Oh wow. Okay, then they should investigate as well. This shows where the Jonathan government should investigate, because someone was saying, one of the bar association leader, I watched it from your side, was saying EFCC should intervene. EFCC is the same. So, but at least maybe EFCC may intervene. They may not find anything. This may take months. But does that mean no one is going to replace Oduah now? Because our aviation industry is suffering. So what are we going to do now? Because it's not just investigating her alone. Who is going to replace her? That's another thing to think about.
Okay. All right, Collie Joe, turn on your video so that we can see your face and make sure it's you. Perkins. Perkins, okay, so where are you and what is your take on this story?
I'm calling from UK. I'm in Kent currently.
Okay, all right. So what is your take?
Like what we just said, we didn't even know what happened, if it was a sack or it was a forced resignation. But regardless of how it came, if it's a sack and all that, what Nigerians want was for her to step aside in that ministry, and which has been achieved. So to me, I think it's a plus to the demands of Nigerians that we demanded that, or they demanded, or everybody demanded that she should step aside while other development about the ministry goes on. If she's found guilty with the allegations and everything, let the law take its course. But nevertheless, what has happened that she has stepped aside, and the permanent secretary of the ministry will continue with the job. According to the question Kalijo was talking about, you know, the permanent secretary could continue with the job for the meantime while they look for replacement. But see, the tenure is even over. So I don't think there's anything reasonable that we'll be able to do between now and 2015. But the most important thing now is she's out of the ministry, and those who, as a matter of fact, they've decided to, so they want to, you know, push this matter forward. Yeah, they could push it forward. The AFCC, all of them, they should push it forward and see where it's going to take us to.
All right, Dr. Perry, let me ask you, because there's this news report that actually people.
Yes.
No, I'm talking to Dr. Perry. Hold on, okay, I'll come back to you. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's this news report that it wasn't even the noise, that they call it noise, that people make online and social media, that it was internal pressure from Minister Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala and some people within the government that finally, and external people like American officials, that actually forced Jonathan to eventually let her go. What do you think about the desires of Nigeria and the fact that it took this long for the president to act on something that would have been a credit to the administration if they had acted when this broke?
That's a very, very beautiful question. And it's a very, very important, it brings up a very important thing that I believe we all need to pay attention to. When we talk about this, Stella, I was listening to the, what's his name, talking from Kent just now.
Yeah, Peckins.
Peckins. It's good we talk so diplomatically, you know, and say, this is nice, this, you know, this person got fired, you know, got sacked, we need to do this. There's a whole way where you talk about things, which is sort of passive. But that is the reason why they continue to do these things to us, because based on our attitude, we are passive. Not even passive, we are non-existent. So this is the question I want to ask, or let's put it this way. If you ran a little establishment, you ran your establishment, and somebody stole your computer, one of your workers stole your computer, the question I would like to ask Nigerians is, would you talk about it the way we talk about Stella, in this diplomatic fashion, and say, oh, well, you know, it's okay if he retired or if she retired, what we need? Or will you say, that person stole my computer, that person should be arrested, and that person should be put in jail? So I think the way we, as a people, our conversation, and that's why I was talking about this chancing, the way our conversation is, allows, the first time they tried it, the first time, I don't know who the first government, corrupt government was, but the first time they try it, this chancing, they try it, they take it, and you don't react appropriately, they say, wow, I didn't know. I didn't know I could get away with it. And then they take again. We should not be celebrating Stella's retirement. Rather, we should be upset that Jonathan insulted us with all this saying she retired to do other things. It's an insult. And we need to react, Nigerians need to react appropriately. We need to respond to these things in the appropriate fashion, where we say, at my job, if I do not do what my duties in my job, I know the consequences. Why do we look at these people at the top and believe they shouldn't have the same consequences for actions that we have in our environment? These people, rather, to whom much is given, much is demanded. They have their retribution should be higher, their condemnation, because the Bible says in Proverbs, it says, like a muddied spring, or is it muddied spring or dirtied fountain, is a righteous man who bows for the wicked. In all of us, the minute we bow for these wicked people and assume that, oh, it should be done diplomatically. In Ghana, the minute a minister just said something small, she got fired, and he said it without, he didn't even look twice, within a day of her not stealing, but just saying, I may steal. By this time, I may gather just 1 million. He fired her. So it's because of what we take, and it's the way we interact in social media, and we say, oh, well, Stella, she's a thief. And a thief should be arrested, prosecuted, and locked in jail. Charis conspired with her. These things are straightforward. It doesn't get more fanciful when it's a ministerial official. It doesn't get more fanciful.
All right.
No right from wrong in just basic fashion.
All right, let's go on along the same line and talk about the $20 billion. Now, the money that has been declared missing from the NNPC is now 20 billion, based on what Sanusi's revision, which he presented at the Senate committee this week. Aliu, 20 billion. What are you in Castina? Do you guys have 20 billion dollars in Castina? And how do you feel about that, knowing that we can't find 20 billion in Nigeria?
In fact, sometimes when you meet people on the street and tell them what that kind of money means, naira, they begin to think, if it is true, if it is possible, Nigeria can have money like that. Not even talk about somebody stealing or diverting such kind of amount of money. 20 billion naira, I believe, can go a long way in transforming almost all our universities that we have now that are in shambles and stuff like that. And the worst part of it is that the government is not even ready to accept the fact that the money has been stolen. What they believe is that Sanusi is just making some bogus statements to implicate the government, or maybe he's doing anti stuff or whatever. This is something that should be checked properly. It should be looked into. $20 billion is not a small money. Even if it's naira, 20 billion naira, I don't think it's small money. I don't even know how to calculate that money in naira, $20 billion.
Aliu, that's very, I wanted to divide the money amongst Nigerians, but I couldn't calculate it. My calculator said E. It couldn't work. All right, Odebode. So 20 billion. Let me give you this premise, okay, because it's something interesting. The Minister of Finance, who should know where the money is coming from? Our money is coming from where and where it's going. She said that the accounting process at NNPC is so complex. I mean, it's like she was seeing it for the first time. She's been minister for a long time. I mean, she was there during Obasanjo's time. Now it's so complex that we have to get external auditors to come in and look at it for us. How do you feel about this, you know, being from that country?
I feel so bad. I don't know the kind of vocabulary I will use to really describe how perplexed my entire being looks right now. But that, despite that fact, I'm really also offended and annoyed with Sanusi. Sanusi has been the governor of Central Bank since June 3rd, 2009. We're talking about almost 4 years you have been the governor of Central Bank. Sanusi is part and parcel of this government. For you to come out and first of all make a bogus claim of some amount and later came back to $10.9 billion, and now you are coming again with $20 billion. I mean, what? Sanusi is a part of this government. He's not an opposition man. Get your figures right. Invite the NNPC, invite the minister, trash out this issue. But right now, it's just. I'm not saying what Sanusi. I mean, bringing out these lapses. I'm not saying is wrong, but the way he's bringing it out. And two, it's also bringing an issue of subsidies of kerosene. Okay, let's assume 20 billion is missing. whether NNPC said this was done on subsidy or wherever, let's forget about the subsidy. Now, let's agree that that 20 billion is missing. Then we now go into the subsidy aspect. Was subsidy supposed to be part, and was subsidy supposed to be taken out, or was supposed to be implemented? Everything is just messed up. Right? That's why even the ministers, what's it called, madam, what's her name now? The coordinating minister.
Oh, okay, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala.
Yeah, that's why she's also confused.
Yeah.
So why I see, look, the Yakubu got to NNPC just last 2 years, June 2011, even 2 years before Sanusi has, and 3 years Sanusi has been there. Sanusi should not be coming out on the media and be proclaiming figures. It should come together within the ministry, because it's part of the government. It should not try to separate himself from this government. Every mess is part of every mess right now.
Let me stop you there. The media, we enjoy this, and we don't want him to go put it inside where they do handle it as a family affair. We really want to have this discussion openly. But I will come back to you. Let me come to you, College Joe. So kerosene subsidy. Now, the Senate met sometime last year, and they asked Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, why was it that there was no nothing in the budget for kerosene subsidy? And Okonjo this year, because last year it was 200 and something billion. This year there was nothing, and Ngozi said, ask the NNPC. Now that she knew nothing about that. So NNPC on their own were saying that they were subsidizing kerosene without any reference to the members of the National Assembly. They just decide on how much to pay anybody and how much to spend our money without, how do you feel about this, knowing that a country like Nigeria knew how much kerosene was the cost of kerosene coming into the country, and then decided not to budget anything for that, and then leave it for NNPC to decide on how much they want? What kind of country are you from?
Rudolf, that's a good question. It's still our country. You see, Rudolf, it's the same thing: accountability, transparency. We don't have it. You understand what I mean? The same thing. I don't know whether it was last week you were interviewing someone from the immigration sector in Nigeria, asking the person how many Nigerians are abroad.
It wasn't me, but yeah, we interviewed the House member.
Yeah.
She had no idea.
And she had no idea. I was shocked. So I was expecting to ask her, how many Nigerians? That alone. Hold on.
Even that was good.
Hold on.
How many embassies?
Embassies.
Rudolf, that alone show you the kind of government we practice. How can Rudolf, let me give you an example. I told one of my colleagues and I said, hey, Nigeria, we're looking for $20 billion. She left her computer. Are you serious? She told me, you saw is in dollars or in your country's currency? I said, no, in my own country, in dollars. She's like, $20 billion went missing? So that alone is already showing them the kind of government and the kind of stuff we practice. I want to read you something that Dr. Perry wrote on his article. And he said, I was surprised, he said 20 billion stolen could have bought a million drones for tracking every single robbery and moving terrorists. I was shocked. So we can buy a million drones with that.
Okay, College, hold on, okay. Let me talk to Perkins. I understand that Abubakar is with us, joined us. So Abubakar, will come to you next. Perkins, so the minister also revealed in one interview this week that the NNPC, part of the problem is that NNPC was paying for loans. NNPC borrowed money. We don't know what they did with the money, but they borrowed money, and instead of paying with cash, they basically give the people oil to sell. And we're not aware of that. I don't even think that OPEC is aware that we are just throwing oil around for things. So how do you feel about that? I mean, you could actually get some oil from NNPC for something you did for the government without the government knowing. What do you think?
It's, Rudolf, it's highly disappointing that the government of the government institutions that we have now, they've turned everything into a form of cash and carry and unwanted attitude to showcase Nigeria in the bad light in the international community. It's very, very disgraceful. I think if the oil runs dry today, everybody will be wiser than how we think. How can NNPC indulge into that activities, which I think it's very, very disappointing. Nobody will take that. No Nigerian will take that. That's why we are angry. We want a functional government. We want a functional institutions, and we have government institutions in one place being manned by people who are unskilled mentally, who are unskilled with the concern for the development of the country. I really don't know what they are doing with the oil money and stuff like that. But the problem within CBN and NNPC, I think there is more to it than what we see on papers. That's what I think, because Sanusi has been there since 2009. What stops him from saying those things and waited till 2013 and 2014
every 6 months be telling us
like WikiLeaks. He refused to speak all this while. So I think there's more to it that was on paper.
All right.
So
let's calm down. Abubakar, welcome to SaharaTV. Are you there?
Rudolf.
Yeah. Abubakar is
Rudolf,
gone.
I want to ask. Okay, I think he's not here. Rudolf,
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to ask a question.
Okay.
Perkins was making a point that, we have had enough. I don't think Nigerians are really ready to come out and say, hey, I've had enough. Just we are abroad screaming. Because 20 billion, I don't see anyone in Nigeria reacting. There's no one actually, the masses are not reacting. I think we've gotten used to this, money laundering, money corruption. We're used to it. So when you mention such money, everyone's like, yeah, someone stole that last year. So no one is actually doing anything and saying, hey, no one is saying, hey, enough is enough yet.
No, but
we are not seeing no protest.
No, we are confused. We don't know who to believe. We are confused. Is this Sanusi you want to believe? Is it NPC you want to believe? We are confused.
Okay,
so what are you going to react for?
Okay, all right. Hold on, guys. Let me come to you, Perry. There's something they mentioned about, one of the things that is frustrating is you have someone like Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala from the World Bank. So you can say that most of the people who are in Nigeria are running things are people who probably have not seen a higher standard of services and best practices. Why is it that someone like Ngozi could be at the head of the financial department of the whole country and making statements like this? And is it acceptable? Does she think that even if what she's saying is acceptable to people in Nigeria, is it acceptable for people outside the country who have seen higher standard of practice? Why is it that someone like her is part of this kind of substandard practice?
It's a jungle. Nigeria is operating as a jungle right now, and I believe this can bring good things. We need to take advantage of this to get out of this mess once and for all. Ngozi says, bring forensic auditors to find the money. She should be able to present records and data right away to show where the money is. She says you need forensic auditors. The minute your Minister of the Economy says we need forensic auditors, that means she's incompetent. And at this stage, Nigerians should be clamoring for her sack. Nigerians should be clamoring for the president's impeachment. We should not be talking about politics at this stage right now. If 20 billion, the budget of our country, like you said, the budget is 30 billion, our total earnings is about 80 billion. If 20 billion is in question, budgets of groups of African countries together, we should be talking about impeachment. We should be talking about firing, not because some people are talking about Sanusi and bringing Sanusi into this mix, and I'll talk about that. I think it's very important we talk about that. It's not because, assuming Sanusi is inaccurate, that's not the question here. The question here is, if you are running my company, and Nigeria is our business, if you are running my company, I want to know that you are competent, you know the records. You tell me this is the record, and you can even actually present that record for everybody to see. You can present that record, that is the account of things. But when our minister says, we need forensic auditors to find 20 billion, if she immediately said 20 billion is not missing, then I'll say, okay, we'll start talking diplomatically. But when our minister says we need forensic auditors, that minister must be fired. When our president is with the ministry and the ministry is talking about needing some kind of people to investigate this money, 20 billion, there's a big problem. Now back to the Sanusi case, because this is really, really important, because, you know, a lot of people are now putting this about Sanusi, that why Sanusi. I'm a critic of Sanusi. In fact, I wrote an article that I lambasted Sanusi. I'm a critic of Sanusi. We criticize anybody, including ourselves. But yes, while this money was getting missing gradually, Sanusi should have told us when 1 billion was missing or when 500 million was missing. But first off, when you look at this whole record, he did this in the way it's meant to be done. He first sent this to the president and Minister of the Economy, I think about July last year. He sent memos to them. So he was not coming out to do something political or do some kind of political fight. He sent secret memos to them that I'm looking for 50 billion. Now, Odebode was complaining about it and was saying why he should get his figures right. It never, ever happens that way in any kind of company or any kind of business where one aspect of one arm of the government or one arm can get the figures right. In all auditing processes, what first happens is you look at the records and you say there is a gap of this amount. And then you present that and say, please, can you explain this gap of this amount? Now, when you present that, their duty is to defend it and say, we can account for the whole entire 50 billion. But when Sanusi did that, they came back and said, when they came together, they said, we can't account. At the end of the meeting, they couldn't account for 11 billion. 11 billion is big enough. I don't care whether it's 20 billion or whether it's 2 billion. You can steal. If Jonathan wants or Diezani Madukwe wants, you can steal from our money. It's not a big deal. But when you look at our entire income and earnings in a year and it's 80 billion, steal 500 million and do things for us with 79.5 billion. Leave that for the country. But when you decide that you're going to steal half, because this one, the 20 billion is what they are stealing on this outside. Then they steal when we are selling petrol. When we are selling oil abroad, they steal. Then when the money comes into the country, they steal again. Then every contract that they do, they steal. So you guys want to sit down and steal 60% of our income? And we would talk about it diplomatically and say Sanusi or Ngozio. This is not a matter of Sanusi. Okay, Sanusi leaked it in the wrong way. Maybe I don't care about that. We're talking about a very, 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 very huge sum of money that is ridiculous for somebody to decide that they want to steal that amount of Nigeria's money. And these people we should be organizing protests, and we're planning to be organizing protests all over to embassies, because somebody mentioned that we abroad are a little bit more agitated. In embassies abroad, it's our duty, wherever we were, to go to Nigerian embassies and say, you should not be unsure, in the very least, of where our 20 billion is.
All right, I was told that we are out of time, but before we go, I know that we have a lot of things we wanted to discuss. I wanted us to talk about Sheikh Gumi, who was here with us, and he made a lot of calculations about how things might turn out in the next election, which we will have to talk about probably next week. But let me come to our Skype callers, and each of you ask you, as we traditionally do here, what is keeping you up at night? Aliu in Castina, what's keeping you up at night? Aliu, are you still with us? Okay, Aliu has dropped. Okay, Odebode, what's keeping you up in Canada?
Well, not too much is keeping me up. Just that I do my study and still try to go to Nigeria press and see what's going on. But the truth remains that Sanusi is part of the government. They should all sit together, discuss about this missing money, about subsidy or wherever there's no subsidy. If he doesn't agree with whatever they come across, he should resign and come to the Nigerian public. I resign because so and so money was missing and nobody is able to defend it. And he should stop giving us bogus statements. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. College Joe.
Yeah. Thank you, Rudolf. I think I will say the same thing I say sometimes every week. Again, it's the national conference. As you said, we're going to start counting down. I want to hear the result from that conference. I want to see whether there's the only way forward. That conference.
College, let me ask you, who will speak for you? Who do you want to see there representing you?
Rudolf.
Rudolf,
We are nominating Rudolf to represent the diaspora.
I know, but I want to hear that, yeah.
Let me tell you something. I'm not sure they will have any, let me say someone from the street. Like, they won't have any credible person. I will say SaharaTV should go there, because if you send any other media house, they will just confuse them with dollars.
I think actually there's nobody with the from the media representing anybody there. Odebode, are you going to? Who do you want to represent you at the conference?
I don't know. You guys have association all over the world, so the Nigerians in Diaspora Association will definitely nominate people. But I know what are they going to discuss about the diaspora? We are already in the care of our government, foreign governments here, so they should talk about our beloved homeland, how they can make it peaceful and prosperous.
They can actually bring up some point about we voting. So that's
a good point. Yeah.
So
our vote. Look. We are talking about a population of 170 million. How many votes of people in diaspora that can change and can make any impact?
Oh, don't say that.
It can.
The government is saying they don't know the amount of people abroad. That means 1 million.
All right, Perkins, what's keeping you up at night?
Well, what's keeping me up at night is the PDP and the APC bashing ahead of 2015, because I have not seen any ideology in APC. What they are concerned about, primarily what I've seen is they want membership with zero ideology. So I think they are backsliding instead of front sliding. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Dr. Perry, so before we go, let me ask you, Sheikh Gumi said, and it's something that is intriguing, that Northern Christian candidates for president won't work. And his reason is that Northerners have lost confidence in their brothers, the Christian brothers, because they voted for Jonathan in 2011. And that Jonathan, for them to prove, they need to convince the rest of Northerners that they are not more Christians than Northerners, something like that. We don't have the time to discuss the political intrigue, but hopefully you come back and join us in that discussion in weeks to come. But what do you think is the calculation now going on within the APC in terms of picking their candidates that will go after or go against Jonathan and Sambo?
1 second, just to mention, Sanusi shouldn't resign, because if Sanusi resigns, we will not hear the money is missing anymore. He's not an angel, but he needs to see this through for Nigeria right now. For once, he's doing something right. So to what Gumi said, what Gumi said is really, really interesting, is very thought-provoking. I feel, unfortunately, Nigeria is so politicized and ethnicized, and Jonathan has helped us to, people have been destroying us throughout, but Jonathan has really helped us to divide us more than ever before. So in the best calculation, APC must actually pick a Southerner, just to make, to shut up a lot of people. Just pick a Southerner. So I agree with Gumi on that. Even though it's unfortunate that we're at this point where we say Northerner or Southerner, I want a good person no matter where he comes from. And at this point, I could even take someone from Ghana or anywhere else, or Togo. But point is, as to the Northern Christian, I think Gumi was only speaking his own mind. He cannot in any way speak, this is his political analysis, and, he has reasons to see it that way. But I think most people on the streets in the North are not really tied down or bogged down by that, because so many people all over North and South, Muslim and Christian, voted for Jonathan. A lot of people thought he was going to give us fresh air, But, so I think that point is not so, it's not strong, that Northern Christian. But it's what he said, which is more true, is yes, a Southern candidate, and maybe a Southern, I don't even think it has to be a Southern Muslim. Because I think most people on the streets in the North, the minute maybe APC or somebody presents a candidate, and once you present a candidate well and everybody sees the candidate is good, people are not going to be so tied down. Jonathan has, the PDP has all this money that they want to use to pay, but God willing, people are going to see above money this time around and, choose somebody better. But the most important thing, if I would suggest, rather than this, pick this, pick that, the most important thing I would suggest to APC or any well-meaning party, and I think Jonathan isn't running because he said he wasn't going to run. So assuming Jonathan isn't running, the same thing to PDP is, right now the world has internet, we have computer, we are all online. Each of them should present the options to the public and let the public help in the choosing process. I think whichever one does that first and presents the candidates to the public and we choose before the election time, it's going to make a big difference. So I think we should take advantage, for instance, this money stolen, these kind of things, put it out there. It's our money, it's our country. You're supposed to be our party. There's internet. It's not like the olden days where you have meetings. Bring it out here and let's choose our candidates.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Perry.
Thank you, too.
So it's been, that's all the time we have. We really had a lot of things we wanted to discuss, but I want to thank people that joined us. Aliyu in Castina. Aliyu, thank you so much. Odebode in Canada. Odebode, thank you so much. College Joe in Canada. College Joe, thank you so much. Perkins in UK. Perkins, thank you so much. Now, coming up, we are going to bring you Keeping It Real, and Dr. Damages is off this week, and we hope to bring him back next week. So stay tuned, and we are going to get you more of our shows.